Hello, everybody. I'm Rafał Gajewski, and today I would like to tell you more about some kind of native and hybrid solution. So what I would like to focus to give you the overall view about the difference between mobile and native mobile applications. I will go through with some kind of business aspects, with advantages, disadvantages of creating both of them, and a little of technical things. I know that you're mostly technical guys, but today I will focus more on the business side. So first of all, if you'd like to create the application or any web product or actually everything, you have to answer for the most important question. And this question is what you need. That means if you are thinking about launching the product, which will be the MVP version of proof of concept, that you would like to check the market, gather the feedback from your customers or something like that, or maybe it's a copy of existing product which you already have, or maybe it's a product that will be using the newest technology, or the product that needs to be really fast and have a huge performance. So going that, I know that you probably have created the user persona, and also have you done the business analysis of your model, of your business model. So you probably know what you need, but I will tell you more. Okay. Okay, so I'd like to go through with app categories. So because it depends what you need, you probably would like to know what kind of types apps are in the market right now. I have split it into the 6 of categories. The Google Play and the Play Store are split it into more precisely, but today I would like to just focus only on the 6. So first of all is the social media app. Everybody would like to be social. Everybody would like to have a contact with our friends, with our family, etc. So this kind of apps is like Facebook, Twitter, Messenger, or any other apps too, which we are using to communicate with people day by day. And if we will just take a look on the technical side of these applications, what we really need. We need some kind of view of this application, context, access to your photo library, access to your camera, and maybe push notification to be up to date with every new. Oh, there's something wrong with this one, but okay. The next time is a lifestyle mobile app. So for example, a lot of us now is leading the really healthy lifestyle. So we would like to run, measure our time. So we are using this kind of run keeper and other applications which are, let's say, not even counting our heartbeats. So this kind of apps are using from one side, from the technical point of view, some kind of accelerometer, GPS location, pulsometer, and other things. Actually, you don't have access to pulsometer to your phone, but you can use it, let's say, if you have maybe some kind of healthy device like a Apple Watch or So maybe I will leave the slide to don't be confused. The third one is a utility mobile app. So it's something that we are using from time to time, like a flashlight, like a calculator, or for example, calendar. So from the technical point of view, it depends what we need. We can use just like etc. push notification, or maybe just the light which is included into your device. The next one is games and entertainment mobile apps. So that's the mostly games, and actually that's it. So for example, from technical point of view, we need a direct access from to our CPU and GPU of our device. So that's really important because we need to have good performance of our apps. And the next one is a news and information mobile apps. So that, for example, New York Times application. So to be, let's say, up to date, we need push notifications, and some kind of view of the application, and that's it. And last one, but not least, is a productivity mobile app. So it's this kind of apps which help us in our current business. For example, Google Docs, Evernote, or something that we are using to help our business. And from the technical point of view, nothing different. Maybe some kind of part of storage because we would like to keep somewhere our documents. So, for example, most popular apps in the App Store, games. Oh, here's the light. Oh, it's not the light. Yeah, it's the light. Games 25 and 4%, and others like, for example, social networking. We've got 2.11. Why is like that? Because for example, if we are just making the games, we can just finish one and then install another one. For example, if we are just go to travel with our kids, we can probably download maybe 20 of them to make sure that our kids are not bored during the long travel. But when it comes to the social networking apps, so for example, we don't have a second Facebook app or something like that, or the second application which will have content from the Facebook application. So that's why this kind of difference between percentages is when it comes to these categories in Apple Store. I will give you a little more of numbers. So maybe somebody know how many available apps are now in the Apple Store? Anybody? 2.2 million of mobile apps in the App Store. To give you a comparison between Google Play Store, it's a little more because it's 2.0 million of application. Why I'm showing it to you? Because to give you how huge is the market and how many competitors you've got. So for example, before you will think to creating the mobile app and spend a lot of money for that, think about these competitors which already are in the market. So for example, if you can answer for yourself how many mobile apps do you have installed on your phone, maybe 5, 10, not even 50. So what with the rest 2.0 millions? So think about it. So what kind of types of mobile application we can have in the market? We've got the HTML5 solution, which is just the responsive web design, which we can use, which we can see on our device using the browser. The second thing is a native, so native solution like iOS and Android, and the hybrid one, which is combination from these two of them. But I will tell you later about it. So native mobile apps, we can now on the market we have 3 of them. So all of which are written for the iOS operating system, for Android operating system, and for Windows Phone. Some time ago, it was also the BlackBerry platform, but nowadays nobody is written for this BlackBerry, and actually I cannot find any example of application that will be provided also on the BlackBerry, and also I didn't know any developer who is writing on the BlackBerry. So these 3 platforms now are just the most usable on the market right now. What we are using to write the application for the iOS is Objective-C, which is provided by Apple in 1983, and his now younger brother Swift, which was provided into the market in 2014. For Android, of course, Java, and for Windows Phone, C# and the .NET platform. But when it comes to the hybrid solutions, we are using the combination of HTML5, CSS3, and JS solutions, which one of the framework. So one of the most popular framework which we are using to creating the hybrid apps is React Native, which is child of the React, which was provided by Facebook. The second one is Ionic. It's based on the Cordova Apache solution. Another is a mobile Angular UI, jQuery mobile, Xamarin, jQuery mobile, and the PhoneGap, which is based on the Cordova. What is interesting when it comes to Xamarin, it's not the JavaScript framework. That's the separate platform which allows you to provide the mobile application for every platform, so iOS, Android, and Windows Phone, but it's written in C#. And what is also interesting, you can install the Xamarin Studio, the tool to write the application, also on the Mac computers. Because what was different, what was difficult when it comes to writing the mobile application for iOS, you need a Mac computer, so you're a little not allowed to install the Xcode on the other platforms like Windows or Linux. So, quick view how the native, hybrid, and webs are composed. So, when it comes to the native, we've got just the native code written in Objective-C, Swift, Java for Android, and C# for Windows Phone. When it comes to the browser, it's just the clean web code, which we can include to the system, and actually everything will be displayed on our phone by using the browser. And when it comes to hybrid, what is the combination with two of them, we've got the native container, which is responsible for the communication with your device and with the operating system, and the app web content, which is conducted into this native container. And how they run? The native apps, they got the directed access to the API calls for the device and for your operating system. Application which are using just the web clean code, they need a browser, and this browser which we have in our phones. But when it comes to the hybrid solution, we've got this web view inside this native container, and this container is connected directly with the operating system. So the way to have an access to our API, to our operating system, is a little bit longer than with the native solutions. So what are the native apps pros? So as I said, it's a full device integration because we have a direct access to all the functionalities. We've got more intuitive UX because if we are using the Android every day or iOS every day, we are familiar with the feeling of how the applications on the iOS or the Android are written. And the next one is offline mode. Because we can use the internal storage of our phones, we have put more content inside our apps, and if we don't have an access to the Wi-Fi or the internet connection, this application could still be used. But when it comes to the hybrids, and you have if you have a web part of this code, it's needed the internet connection to download the content. And easy discovery in the stores, because Apple has not always control what is inside the hybrid apps, so they are blocking the hybrid solutions, but they are just trying to just give better chance to the native solutions, and that's why it's easy to find them in the store. The other phase is the performance. So, for example, creating the native application is like building the really fast car to just to driving only on the track, and also the dedicated solution. Because, for example, if we are just creating the app which is using only the flashlight, we don't have to implement another things around it, because we need just direct access to this flashlight and that's it. So that's dedicated solution. It's one of the pros of this native solutions. But there are also some kind of disadvantages, because if we like to cover all the platform, we need to have dedicated developers. So, for example, iOS and Android developers, and for sure, these developers are not working for free, and they are not volunteers. So you need extra, and that's why you've got also higher development costs, because you have to cover all of these devices with having separate developers. Okay, and hybrid apps pros. So we can use one code and cover 3 platforms. The same with the UI. For example, if we are just designing the application, hybrid application, we are designing the same layout for all of them, and also we can when we are written it, we can use one code and cover 3 platforms. We don't need dedicated developers, because if we have right now, I would say, resources in our company who are familiar with the JavaScript, it's easy. It's easy entry threshold. Because they can just learn a little bit of how to use this JavaScript framework and how to communicate with this API of your devices. And because of that, you've got also the lower development cost, because you don't need dedicated developers. This one code and this one design, it's covered all devices, because that's the JavaScript, so you don't have to think what kind of size of the screen you already have. Is it Retina or no, or something different? And it's easy content updates, because this web view which you have on your device, it could be automatically uploaded by the API. Can we get another remote, maybe? Because this one, it's not. Oh, okay, now it's working. Okay, but something that it's not good for the hybrid apps. So it's a common UX. It's not dedicated, so we can have a poor overall feeling about dealing with our application. We have delayed access to the new features. For example, if now we have the iPhone with the Fast Touch button, there's we are not able to now use it using the JavaScript framework. So, for example, if Apple or Google is providing the new operating system, or they are just launching the new device, and the guys which are developing these frameworks have to adapt to these new solutions. So that's why we've got delay access to the new features. And we are not sure that we will get it, because maybe it will be blocked by Apple, like, for example, using the Touch ID system. So it's also low efficiency, because we are just developing one application for all the platforms. It's not just a dedicated solution, so that's why we can have a low efficiency. Also the poor overfilling, because when we are day by day dealing with our iOS application, and then we will switch for the Android device, not even with the same application, the feeling and the UX is totally different, so that's why we can have a poor overfilling. And also limited access to this native functionality. So as I have mentioned before, that could be some kind of tools that we cannot use in the hybrid solution. And so how it looks like in practice. So when it comes to the native, we've got advanced UI, fastest performance, and App Store distribution. But when it comes to hybrid, we can also have a App Store distribution, access to the native platform, but we need only just web developer skills, not dedicated. So quick comparison between these two platforms. In native, we are using the native code in a hybrid web language. Device access, here we've got complete. Specific feature, this one is high because most of the features we can use. This one is moderate because we never know what kind of, what can be blocked by the producer. Notifications and geolocation, these two are available for both. Speed, this one is very fast, this one is medium. Availability in the App Store and the Play Store, for both. Approval process, it's mandatory, and here is a low overhead because Apple can block and reject our application because of the content which we are providing. So if we are just have the web view in the application, we can provide any content there, and they don't have always. They are not sure what we can display there, so sometimes our apps are rejected. Code portability, we cannot, but in hybrid solution we can move it between the platforms. Advanced graphic, US, access to the native APIs. For the native are high, but on the hybrid are moderate. And the last, development costs. So for example, if we are just want to launch into the market the MVP solution, that could be expensive for us, but when it comes to the hybrid, that's reasonable. I have told you about the speed for the native application, but what if we will spend a lot of money to creating the really fast application, and we cannot use power of this application like this Ferrari on the desert? I'm for sure that on the track that will be one of the fastest car, but on deserts it's not usable. So what we are doing, we usually chosen something most frequently, so something that we can use in 90% of the roads. So for example, if we would like to go to the travel and we know that we are going by motorway, so we are not buying the really fast car. Or for example, if we know that we are going to the city, we are not buying the new small car to have a better chance to find the car parking place. So we are just trying to buy something universal that we can use in 90% of the roads. The same with the hybrid solution. To sum up, or actually in my summary, I would like to show you some kind of examples of hybrid applications which are written in the React Native. One of them is Airbnb. The second one is SoundCloud, Bloomberg, Tesla, Walmart, and to the biggest one, which are also the founders, so Facebook and Instagram. So, for example, if these big companies have chosen the hybrid solution, that means that this something where we can meet into the future, and actually why they have chosen is a coincidence? I don't think so. Thank you for your attention.
Any questions for Rafał? Are there any? Yes.
I don't know if I missed that, but I would like to make sure if hybrid applications allow the full use of the hardware of the phone, accelerometer, whatever it is.
Not full. It's limited because actually this push notification system, accelerometer, GPS, etc. They have access to that, but when it comes to the newest technology, it could be delay. And for example, not to give you an example, this Touch ID which you have in your iPhone. So for example, if you'd like to using your fingerprint have an access somewhere, so you cannot use when it comes to the hybrid application. So it's not fully, when it comes to the utility apps or the productivity apps, so for the business which we are using every day, that's a really good solution. But when we need to have a strict access to these tools provided by your phone, for sure you have to write it in the native. I can see the question there.
Hey, when you mentioned the development cost, did you mean just the mobile app or the entire service, including like web application together with native apps?
Just the mobile. So if we'll just turn back and think also to creating the mobile hybrid application when we already have the written, let's say, our website in one of these frameworks that I have mentioned, like React or Angular.js, we can easy way provide the native solution which could be installed on your phone.
But if you meant like entire service, would you still claim that development cost for the entire service is lower when you use hybrid apps?
When it comes to hybrid, yeah, it's lower.
Because from my experience, I mean, if you have to deal with all the incompatibilities between all the platforms, when you create a web app, the development cost is sometimes even higher in hybrid apps because you have to test it on bigger number of platforms, and like code base can get more messy because you have to deal with incompatibilities, make some exceptions.
Okay. But the same case with when it comes to the native. For example, if we're testing our native application, we have a lot of devices with different resolutions, and also I will say that there are the same problems. For example, one kind of Android devices have a horizontal view of your, let's say, of your display. For example, for us, it's just natural that we've got the portrait view, but for example, if you have device like this, but here you've got the keyboard and your display is horizontal, then you have to also deal with it. So I will say that there are the same problems, and when it comes to this development cost, I will still say that they are lower than creating the native solutions.
Okay. I have one more question about React Native, because you mentioned React Native as one of the hybrid frameworks, right? But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that React Native just compiles the JS code and components written in JS into native platform components. Is it correct, or?
That's right. So that's why the JS framework. But when it comes to, let's say, for example, Ionic or the Cordova, they are using this Apache engine, which is providing this platform. But when it comes to the React Native, you have right.
So, I mean, this approach would be, I think, in terms of speed and performance on the platform, would be quite similar to native approach, right? Because it uses native components, so it's right. Not the JavaScript compiling on the fly, right? That's
right. That I just give you the example of the Facebook, because before I haven't realized that the Facebook is within the React Native, because it's the overview, or maybe the overall feeling of using the Facebook app is like using the native solution, because it's really fast, moving directly. One thing could be concerned that when it's offline, you've got no content. So, but you should, when it comes to the native solution, you should have some kind of, maybe not even previous messages or something like that. But the Facebook is still loading, trying to download the new messages and put it into your wall.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And how will this environment change with progressive web apps? Do you think it will significantly change the hybrid native struggle?
That's true. That's the new trend. Last time was the Polymer conference, so that's the new solution provided by Google. So I'm not that familiar with these web progressive apps, but for sure that's something innovative that will be developed in the next future. So we'll see how it will be compared with the hybrid and the native solution. So maybe on the next summit, I will give you the comparison between two of them.
Looking forward to that.
If there are none, thank you, Rafał, for your
Thanks.
presentation.